Okay, Assalamualaikum and hi. Okay, today we are going to discuss about empirical formula. On the previous class, we have discussed about the basic of empirical formula and the molecular formula. Okay, the definition of empirical formula we have discussed last week. Okay, what is empirical formula? Empirical formula is the chemical formula that shows the simplest whole number of the number each atom in the element in a compound. And molecular formula, in the other hand, is the chemical formula that shows the actual number. So the key word here is actual number and simplest whole ratio number. Okay, then from the previous class, we have discussed about the molecular formula and empirical formula for the substance in this table. Okay, I just repeat it again. Okay, for propene, for example, propene, the molecular formula or the actual number of atom in propene is C3H6. That is the molecular formula for propene. Then the empirical formula is CH2. CH2 comes from when we simplify the formula of C3H6, we have CH2. Okay, C3H6, then simplify, then we divide by 3 and also divide by 3, we have CH2. So CH2 is the empirical formula and C3H6 is the molecular formula. Okay, that is the basic of empirical formula. How about when the question is about the calculation for empirical formula? Okay, this is the example for question that usually come out in SPM examination. Look at example 14. Okay, the question is 1.35 gram of aluminium combined with 1.2 gram of oxygen to form aluminium oxide. Okay, this question. Okay, look at this question. This one, example 14. What is the empirical formula for aluminium oxide? Okay, so for this type of question, you need to do calculation. Okay, to find out the empirical formula for each substance. Okay, first step is you need to draw a table. Okay, draw a table. Okay, kejap ya. Okay, so from the table you have a few columns. Okay, macam mana kita nak tentukan kolom? Okay, kita tengok di sini. The clue is from the RAM given. So RAM given is two elements. Okay, element oxygen and number 2 is element aluminium. So from the RMM or RAM given, you boleh tahu berapa banyak kolom yang you kena draw. Okay, from this one, you need to draw 2 column. Okay, so this is the column for aluminium and column for oxygen. Okay, ini depends pada question. You tengok apa yang dia bagi pada dia punya RAM. If the RAM given is sodium, sulfur and oxygen, so you have 3 columns. Okay, the first columns must be sodium and sulfur and oxygen, like that. You tengok dia punya RAM. Macam mana nak tengok RAM? Tengok dalam question lah. Okay, then the first column is about Okay, the first one is the mass. Okay, cikgu lukis balik. Okay, ini adalah kolom untuk aluminium and this one untuk oksigen. Then the first is mass. Okay, so from the question, aluminium, the mass of aluminium is 1.35 and oxygen is 1.2. Okay, so you just copy the mass 1.35 here and berapa tadi? 1.2. Okay, then 1.2 gram is the mass of oxygen. Okay, then number 2 is number of mole. Okay, you write the full name, number of mole. Don't write NOM, big wrong. Okay, you just write number of mole. Okay, so from the mass given, we can calculate the number of mole of aluminium and number of mole of oxygen. Okay, then 1.35 divide the RAM for aluminium is 27 and 1.2 is the mass of oxygen divided by the RAM for oxygen is 16. Then you akan dapat dia punya number of mole. Okay, number of mole is 0.05 and 0.075. Okay, so here is 0.05 for aluminium and another one is 0.075. That is a mole of aluminium. Mole of oxygen. Okay, that is step number 2. Then step number 3, you need to calculate the simplest ratio of number of mole. I repeat, you need to calculate the simplest ratio number of mole. Jadi, macam ni kita nak calculate the simplest ratio. You divide with the smallest number of mole. Okay, you compare 0.05 and 0.075. The smallest number of mole is 0.05. So, 0.05 divide by 0.05. That is the simplest number of mole for aluminium. And from this column, 0.075 also divide with 0.05. Okay, I repeat. Untuk dapatkan the simplest number of mole, you need to divide with the smallest number of mole. Okay, you determine which one is the smallest. Okay, in this case 0.05 is the smallest. So, then you akan dapat ratio 1 here and 1.5. Okay, so 1 here and 1.5. Okay, when you have the answer in decimal number, okay, this one cannot be written in the form of empirical formula, because from the definition, empirical formula is the chemical formula with the simplest whole number. Nombor bulat. Okay, so in empirical formula, we don't have ALO 1.5. No, we don't have that. Okay, we only have whole number Al2O3 or MgO or Cu2O3, like that. You only have a whole number. Okay, for this case, you got 1.5, which is the decimal number. Okay, from this one, 1.5, you need to multiply with a number to get a whole number. Okay, so 1.5 times 2, you akan dapat equals 3, right? Okay, 3 is whole number. So, for this side also need 2 times 2. Okay, here, if you times 3, this side also must times 3. Okay, if here you times 4, so this side also must times 4. Okay, so we have here tadi kita dapat 1 times 2 equals 2. Okay, and then for this side, for aluminium side, 1.5 times 2 is equal to 3. So the ratio is 2 to 3, isn't it? Okay, here 1 times 2 equals 2 and 1.5 times 2 equals 3. So the empirical formula form is, okay, empirical formula is equals, okay, you tengok kolom ini, 2 is for aluminium, 3 is for oxygen. So Al2O3, like that. Okay, alright. Okay, I hope you understand. Okay, this is the empirical formula. Okay, let's see another question. Okay, wait okay, let's see the activity 3.11. A sample, this question. This question number 1, a sample of potassium bromide contain 6.24 gram of potassium and 12.8 of bromine. What is the empirical formula of potassium bromide? Okay, this is the RAM given, H1C12O16 and so on. Okay, so now we have potassium and bromine. From this question, you can draw table with 2 columns. Okay, so 2 columns consist of potassium and Br. Okay, alright. Okay, next is mass. Okay, the same procedures, the same step. Okay, what is the mass for the potassium? Mass is 6.24. Okay, so here the mass for potassium is 6.24 grams and mass of bromide is 12.8. Okay, so here you write 12.8. Okay, then number of mole. Number of mole of potassium is 6.24 divided by 19. 19 is the RAM for potassium. And for bromide, 12.8 divided by 207, if I'm not mistaken. 80. Okay, so 12.8 is divided by 80. Okay, this one divide by 19 and this side divide by 80. Okay, so you calculate, let's say you have the answer 0.05 for potassium and for bromide also 0.05 mole. Okay, ini awak kira sendiri tau, saya tak ada calculator, so saya assume sahaja. Okay, so 0.05 and 0.05 is the number of mole. Okay, now we need to calculate the simplest number of mole, the simplest ratio of number of mole. So 0.05 and 0.05, the same number, right? So 0.05 divided by 0.05. This side also need to divide by 0.05. Okay, so the ratio is 1 to 1. This is the simplest ratio. You write here, simplest ratio. Okay, simplest ratio 1 to 1. Okay, next is empirical formula. Okay, equals KBR. Why KBR? Because the ratio is 1 to 1. So here will be 1 and 1. KBR. Okay, that is how you find out or you calculate the the empirical formula for the given data. Okay. How about question number 2? Okay, question number 2. A sample of 26.1 of tin chloride. Tin is stannum. Stannum is SN. Dia punya simbol dia. Okay, tin chloride consists of 11.9 gram of tin. State the empirical formula of tin chloride. Okay, so from this question, they give you the mass of tin chloride. Mass of tin chloride is 26.1. That is tin chloride. And now, the second information, they give you the mass of tin. Mass of tin is 11.9 gram. Okay, so this is tin chloride. Okay, tin chloride. Then, second one is tin. Equals. So, 19.1. Okay, now, what is the mass of chloride? Okay. Mass of chloride equals 26.1 minus 11.9. I repeat. The mass of tin chloride is 26.1 gram. And the mass of tin given is 11.9 gram. Okay, now what is the mass of the chloride? So mass of chloride equals 26.1 minus 11.9. So you have mass of chloride here. Okay, so how to interpret the data? Okay, sekarang ni kita ada dua column. Okay, we have SN here and Cl. Mass of SN or tin is 11.9. Okay, and here chloride, you have here tadi minus, and then let's say you have X gram here. Then you follow the step. From the previous question, and then you will have to answer SN. Let's say SN2Cl3. Contoh macam tu lah. Okay, so for this question, I want you to do question number 2. Question number 2 only. Okay, I will show you how to answer for question number 4. Then you do it by yourself. Question number 2, I have show you how to draw the table and how you get the mass of the chloride. Then you proceed with the last answer, which is state the empirical formula. Okay, then for question number 4, they give you the percentage of the element. Okay, we have carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So you have 3 columns. Okay, for this question, we have 3 columns. Carbon, the first column is carbon, second column is hydrogen, and the third column is oxygen. Okay, you see here, carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. And in percentage, the mass of the carbon is 64.62. Okay, so you write here 64.62%. Okay, write in percent first. Okay, then the hydrogen 10.7. Okay, hydrogen is 10.7%. And the last one is mass of oxygen is 24.6, right? Okay, wait. 61. Okay, 24.61. Okay, so you write here 24.61%. Okay, then this is in terms of percentage. Okay, next step, you need to cancel out the percentage form. Okay, so macam mana kita nak hilangkan dia punya percentage? So 64.62 over 100, because percentage, right, times 100. So at the end, the mass of carbon will be 64.62. This is mass of carbon. You write gram here. And hydrogen, 10.7 over 100 times 100. Remember, when they give you question about percentage, you kena cancel out the percentage. Okay, then you have 10.7 gram is the mass of hydrogen. And the last one, for oxygen, you do the same thing. Then at the end, the answer or the mass of oxygen is 24.61 gram. Okay, then after you have mass in the form of gram, then you proceed to next step. Next step is you calculate the number of mole for each of the substance. And next step, you need to find out the simplest ratio. How to find out the simplest ratio? Simplest ratio can be calculated by divide by the simplest number of mole. Okay, then after you dah dapat the simplest number of mole, for example here you have 1, 2 and 3 for the simplest number of mole. So the empirical formula for the substance must be CH2O3, like that. Okay, because the ratio for C is 1, the ratio of H is 2, and the ratio of O is 3. So the empirical formula is CH2O3, like that. Okay. Okay, kalau awak tak faham, awak boleh repeat balik video saya. Awak boleh mula daripada sini yang saya tunjuk first kat sini tadi. Ini pun boleh juga. Okay. Empirical formula done. How about the molecular formula? Okay, molecular formula, let's see the question. Okay, for this one, activity 3.1, I repeat, I want you to do number 2 and number 3. Sorry, number 2 and number 4. Okay, number 2 and number 4. Okay, actually cikgu dah bagi dah step dia, cuma awak perlu dapatkan the exact answer. Okay, next is molecular formula. Okay, mana soalan molecular formula? Tak ada pula molecular formula. Ini dah masuk equation dah ni. Okay, tak apa. Wait saya cari soalan dalam buku. Tunggu sekejap ya. Okay, this is about the molecular formula. Okay, tadi kita discuss about empirical formula. Okay, now is molecular formula. Okay, the question is, okay, empirical formula for pentane is CH2. Okay, the question is empirical formula for pentane is CH2, and the RMM or relative molecular mass is 70. Okay, RMM equals 70. Determine the molecular formula of pentane. Okay, I repeat the question. the empirical formula of pentane is CH2 and the relative molecular mass is 70. Determine the molecular formula of pentene. Then the RAM given is RAM C is 12 and H is 1. Okay, so macam mana kita nak dapatkan molecular formula? Okay, senang saja. First is, you write this one. Okay, the empirical formula just now, they give you CH2, right? Okay, so you write CH2 in bracket N equals the RMM. So, RMM just now is 70. Okay, step number 2. You find or you calculate the RMM for the empirical formula. Okay, so 12 plus 1 times 2 times N equals 70. Alright, then here 12 plus 2 is 14. 14 times N equals 70. Okay, then N will be 5. Okay, 70 divided by 14. So, N equals 5. Now, N is 5. Then, you substitute in this one. Just now, N is 5, right? Okay, so, from this formula, CH2 in bracket N. Okay, then, you expand this one first. Okay, so, you expand with N times H2 and C. Okay, so Cn H2n. Awak kembangkan dahulu. So C times N is Cn, H2 times N is H2n, equals the RMM is 70. Okay, from this one equals 70. Okay, now sorry. Tadi kita dah dapat N kan? Okay, so tak perlu equal 70 lagi. So, after you expand this, so, substitute the N value, which is 5 into this one. So, the formula or the chemical formula, the molecular formula is C5H10. Like that. C5 because N equals 5 and 2 times 5 is 10. So, the molecular formula for pentane is C5H10. Okay. Right. Okay, next question. Okay. I will read the question first. Okay. The empirical formula of a substance is CHO2. Okay, and the RMM given is 90. The RMM equals 90. Okay, then determine the molecular formula for the substance. Okay, I repeat the question. The empirical formula of a substance is CHO2. Given the RMM is 90, determine the Determine the molecular formula of the substance. Okay, just use the same step. First of all, is CHO2 in bracket N equals 90. Okay, first one. And calculate the RMM for this one. So, you have 12 plus 1 plus 16 times 2 in bracket N equals 90. Okay. Okay, then you calculate, then you will get the answer N equals 2. Okay, just now is CHO2. Okay, so CHO2 CnO2n, then expand this one, you will get CnHnO2n. Okay, then substitute the n equals 2 in this one, so C2H2O4. So this is the molecular formula for the substance. Okay, alright. Okay, I hope you really understand what we are discuss right now. Okay, exercise pula tak ada ya. Wait. Okay. Okay, tak apalah. I just write this question, then you copy in your exercise book, then you attach the GC as usual. Okay. The first question, you just copy in your exercise book. Okay. Okay, 0.62 gram of metal X. Tak nak lah. Okay. Kita padam balik. Kita just simplify the question. Okay, so question number 1. Okay, question number 1. Mass of M. Okay, mass of M is 0.62 gram. Okay, then mass of oxygen is 0.8 gram. Then determine the empirical formula. Okay, that is question number 1. Okay, question number 2. Okay, given the percentage of carbon. Okay, percentage of carbon is 26.7%. Then percentage of hydrogen is 2.2%. And last is percentage of oxygen is 71.1%. Okay, first A, determine empirical formula, and B, determine the molecular formula given RMM equals 90. Okay, alright. Okay, so that is the question number 2. Next is question number 3. Okay, wait, we look for example. Okay, question number 3 is okay. Question number 3 is empirical formula of a compound C2H4Br. Okay, then the RMM is 216. Then determine the molecular formula. Okay. Itu soalan dia. Okay, for this one, I want you to copy the question. You repeat my video, then you copy the question. Don't write the question like mine. Okay. Jangan salin soalan macam saya buat ni, EF, C2H4, BR, RMM. Ini saya tak nak soalan macam ni. Ini saya just tulis dalam bentuk yang ringkas lah. Okay, then for your exercise, you copy the question based on what I have said in the video. Okay, understand? Okay, so I will stop our class now because I really tired. Just now saya baru habis kelas dengan Form 5 SPM 2020. Saya buat 3 jam dengan kelas dengan diorang tadi. Jadi saya rasa penat sangat. Tapi saya paksa diri saya untuk buat video untuk awak sebab esok kelas kan. Jadi saya stop sampai sini sajalah. Okay, anything just text me dalam group. Okay. Itu saja daripada saya. Kita akan jumpa lagi kelas yang seterusnya. So, thank you and bye.